What's up, everyone? Jason Gilbo here with Rob Mazika, taking a look at value plays for tonight's five-game slate. Overall, pretty much high-scoring games across the board outside of really Dallas and Chicago, which is the only one below 200. But I'm kind of intrigued with this slate. I think there's stuff to kind of worry about, though. But overall, decent teams here.
Yeah, it should be a fun slate. There's, like you said, there's a couple of things to worry about. With Denver on a back-to-back, with Mike Malone being their coach, they could always, play free the entire game or sit Jokic the entire game or who knows. But it should be a fun slate regardless.
Yeah, definitely. Pretty much all these guys are in play as well in terms of teams. I don't see really anyone that I'm going to be fading. Blowout concerns, San Antonio and Toronto are double-digit favorites, but I'm not all that worried.
Yeah, I'm not either. The San Antonio game, that's probably the one I'm going to have the least exposure to just because I don't really like playing guys against San Antonio. And the total is only 202. And then Toronto, they're playing the Nets, but the Nets at home, they stick around for a while, so it could be closer than you expect.
Yeah, and Brook Lopez back after the rest, so that's obviously an added bump to their offensive play.
Yep.
Looking at point guards tonight, who do you like as far as a top option?
Top option, it's got to be Kyle Lowry just because he's playing the Nets, and over the years, ago, he's just owned them. And it's going to be an up-paced game. If it doesn't blow out, he could have a big game tonight.
Yeah, definitely in on him. He's the top guy. There's really no one else to really look at. D'Angelo Russell, kind of that secondary option, just a little bit cheaper. Really like his price on FanDuel tonight. I think that's where the biggest bargain is.
Yeah, Russell's my favorite play on FanDuel tonight at the position. He's probably going to be the chalk, but I'm okay with eating that.
Yeah, definitely. Then we get into some value guys. I don't mind Deron Williams on DraftKings more just because he's 5,900. Russell $7K on DK, obviously a little bit more expensive, so it's hard to consider him value. But Deron, a DK guy. I'm not really a big fan of Chicago's defense against point guards, even though it looks decent on paper. But it's still, I don't mind targeting against the Bulls.
Yeah, I don't mind Williams on DraftKings. I wouldn't touch him on FanDuel, though, at 6,400. That price just seems a little bit too high for me. Yeah. I know he put up a 40 spot the other night, but it's his first time in maybe 20 games that he had over 40 fantasy points.
Yeah, when Russell's 400 cheaper, it just makes it easier to go that route.
Yeah, definitely. Going a little cheaper. I like for tournaments. I like both Moutier and Jameer Nelson. It's tough to project those minutes with Mike Malone, but Gary Harris is ruled out tonight. Well, he's doubtful, and those minutes are going to have to go to either Nelson, Moutier, or Barton. And I think it'll just be split evenly across the three, and they're all too cheap.
Yeah, they definitely are. And that's kind of we get into Mike Malone and his use of minutes. Moutier obviously coming off of a really solid game against Orlando. The assists were up over double digits. Really cheap on both sides. And obviously a plus matchup. But as you said, I think he's just strictly GPP only.
Yeah, those minutes with Mike Malone, you can just never project them.
Yeah, I definitely can't. Anyone else those are pretty much the only kind of key value guys at point guard tonight.
Yeah, I have a little interest in Patrick Beverley just because the total in that game is pretty high. And Miami, they don't play a lot of defense against point guards.
No, definitely don't. Moving on to shooting guard, and obviously Harden, kind of your pay-up option. And we were discussing DeMar DeRozan. The pricing on him a little expensive. His games against Brooklyn really haven't been that great this year. I know it's just 2 games, but I'm kind of more focused on the cheaper options.
Yeah, same here. DeRozan's 9,400 on FanDuel, like you said, but he could score 40 points tonight. It's just that's all he'll do. He'll score 40 points, get a couple of rebounds here and there, and that's it. And there's just no upside there.
No, big high total. I just kind of feel like Harden's Lowry's a little bit cheaper. You got Carroll, Valanciunas, who just seem to be better points per dollar plays.
Yeah, I agree there. I'm probably going a little cheaper at shooting guard tonight. Like I said before, Will Barton, he's probably my favorite position just because those minutes they should be there for him tonight.
Yeah, they definitely should. Gary Harris, I know he only played 24 against Orlando, but there wasn't anything really bad about it. He still shot 5 of 9 from the field. It was just kind of one of those things where, Jameer Nelson was really hot, and they kind of rolled with him the rest of the way there.
Yeah, it was also a revenge game for Jameer Nelson, so there's a little flag there. Maybe he had a little incentive to do better last night, but you just never know with Mike Malone. These guys can get 35 minutes, or they can get 15 minutes. It's hard to project.
Yeah, it definitely is. The good thing is Harris out does clear it up just a little bit.
Yeah, a little more.
So Deion Waiter's another guy, 5,300. I mean, with Miami's injury problems, he's been, 25 to 30 minutes. Hasn't been exceptionally well. I mean, the last two games have been solid for him. Still not shooting all that well, but I like the matchup here against Houston. I mean, up pace a little bit, and so should get plenty of run blowout regardless.
Yeah, he should see the James Harden defense too. And since coming back from injury, I've been using him the whole time. And his minutes are finally getting over 30 minutes, and he'll get back to his normal production sooner or later.
Yeah, definitely will. Jordan Clarkson, I mean, questionable. There hasn't been a lot of news on him that I've seen. I mean, it's 2 o'clock Eastern. If Clarkson's out, I mean, obviously an added bump to Russell right away. But Lou Williams, I mean, 4,300 on DK, coming off a big game, great matchup. If, we've seen the minutes kind of drop for him a little bit of late, but if he's around 25, 26 minutes, I'm kind of all in on him.
Yeah, I like him a lot too if he's going to get those minutes. They're terrible at defending guards, and on DraftKings, that price is just too good.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, FanDuel not too bad either. Just because his recent play has kind of slipped his price down, but definitely will be a matchup in added minutes for him if Clarkson's ruled out.
Yeah, definitely. And then one more guy I'm looking at over on DraftKings is it's Wesley Matthews. He's only 5K, and he's been shooting a little bit better lately, about 50% his last 2 games. But the minutes have been there all season, and the production should creep up to what it used to be as the season goes on.
Yeah, definitely. Shot well prior game against the Bulls, scored 26 real points. And, his shooting hasn't really been hindered with Nowitzki back, 15 to 14 attempts the last 2 games. And as you said, the minutes are always 35 plus.
Yeah, he's in a good spot tonight. It's just tough to trust him, though.
Yeah, definitely. Moving on to small forward. And, I mean, you got Jimmy Butler, Kawhi Leonard. You have the preference. You were looking at Leonard, right?
Yeah, if I had to choose, I'd choose Leonard. Just because I watched his last game, and he seemed to just making every single shot. And he was aggressive. He got to the line 14 times, which is a pretty decent amount. And if he stays aggressive tonight, I think he'll at least compete with Butler on a point per dollar sense.
Yeah, I mean, not too far off in terms of pricing. And as you said, I mean, shooting 58% over the last 4 games, Leonard's just been unreal. That's the game where there's a little bit of block concern, but I think Kawhi Leonard's still, in terms of being a cash game play, I don't mind him. 40 plus fantasy points, I think, is a reasonable floor for him.
Yeah, I think he'll be much lower owned than Butler tonight, too.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Cheaper options, I mean, Wilson Chandler, we're talking about minutes with this Denver team, just played 21. Still 25 fantasy points, on DK wasn't killing you. Obviously, you were expecting more, but, it's him and Fareed where I think the minutes are going to be between tonight.
Yeah, Terrell Arthur is also ruled out tonight. And Chandler, he has been starting for Arthur lately, but last night, Fareed got the start over Chandler. So who knows with these Nuggets? I like Chandler a lot just for the fact he got 21 minutes last night. I can see him getting over 30 tonight. And if he does, I'm probably going to be all in on him.
Yeah, I mean, Fareed played 33 minutes yesterday. And usually we don't see Fareed as a big guy who's going to be on back-to-backs playing huge minutes both games. So I think that's one thing to consider as well. Just because Fareed, he isn't a guy who can log a ton of minutes over a short period of time.
Yeah, the key to tonight is going to be projecting those Denver Nuggets minutes. If you get them right, you're going to win the slate.
Yeah, definitely, man, because obviously a great matchup against the Lakers. What about Gallinari? I mean, any interest in him? I mean, he's probably the more consistent guy for minutes, but obviously the production kind of varies.
I have a little less interest. It's just solely, I mean, even though he's on the Nuggets and the minutes are, unpredictable, he played a little over 40 minutes last night, and whenever a guy plays over 40 minutes on a back-to-back, I just stay away from him.
Yeah, I mean, I think Chandler's probably the more intriguing option at the small forward position. I do have a little bit of interest on DK just because the pricing difference isn't all that far off, or it's a little bit more far off than FanDuel, who's just 100 more. Gallinari, I mean, $700 cheaper.
Yeah, on DraftKings, he's probably the safer play over there.
Yeah.
Going a little cheaper, I like Damari Carroll. He was the chalk the other night against this Nets team. His price went up $800 since then, but he shot 10 3-point attempts against them, and I'm baffled at all those shots. But the Nets give up threes, and I guess he'll be the one shooting them.
Yeah, I mean, we look here, 32, 3-point attempts over the last 4 games.
Yeah,
32.
That's a lot for him.
I mean, it's going to be there, especially against this Brooklyn team. I mean, the price has come up a little bit, but it's still not anything bad. And the minutes have been there. That's always been the concern with him. But with him kind of working his way back from injury, I'm not too worried about it anymore.
Yeah, I'm not too worried either. The Nets are just the best matchup, hands down, for fantasy sports. So I like to target anyone against them.
Yeah,
And then,
definitely do.
the other side of that game, I like Bogdanovich. He's 40. I wouldn't touch him on DraftKings. His price is a little high, but he's 4,200 on FanDuel, and he can go out and actually score 30 real points in the game. He's a really good shooter. It's just he's very shot dependent.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, but as you said, the price is right there. I mean, if you're imagining that game kind of hitting that total and staying relatively close, I wouldn't be opposed to kind of putting those Nets guys in play just because, I mean, someone's going to have to score for him.
Yeah, exactly. If it stays close, you're right. Someone's gonna have to score.
Yeah. One more. I mean, for me, Trevor Ariza, 5,800 on FanDuel, 56 on DK. Don't mind him tonight. I mean, you look at this Miami team; they've just been banged up. 24th in defensive efficiency against small forwards, and it has never kind of reaches a price where I'm just like, oh, he's too expensive. He always just kind of sits in that mid range for me, and 30 to 35 fantasy points, I think for me is what I'm going to be expecting.
Yeah, he's a very nice price on both sides, and he's just a very consistent player. I mean, he's got a little bit of upside, and the Heat are just really bad this year. It's a little shocking to me, but I like him for all formats tonight.
Yeah, I do too. Anyone else a small forward?
That's it for me.
Yeah. Power forward. I mean, this one obviously a little weaker tonight, obviously, I think, than yesterday when we talked, but I don't mind some of these guys. And I think this is an area where the mid range is obviously going to rule all.
Yeah, because I could see the majority of people just paying up for Jokic, and I think he might be a good tournament fade tonight, even though he's been amazing lately. It's like I said, it's tough to predict those minutes between him and Fareed, but someone who you can predict the minutes for is Julius Randle. I mean, he gets about a little over 30 minutes every game, and I know the production, he hasn't looked good, but he's only 6,200 on FanDuel, and I was playing him when he was almost 7,500, so I'm okay with using him tonight.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, at that price tag, noticeable difference. I don't even mind playing them together. A Jokic Randall lineup in a GPP. But as you said, Jokic could be a guy that you might look to maybe fade tonight at an 8,500 price tag, at least in a couple lineups because of the minutes. Foul trouble could be there. He could just not hit that price tag because it's come up so high.
Yeah, it's a high price tag. It's just he's been amazing lately. So I mean, the price is good for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he doesn't deserve it. I mean, he's just absolutely been crushing.
Yeah, and then a little cheaper. We were talking about Dirk. He's been looking very well since he's come back from injury. Shooting the ball well. He looks like Giannis. He looks like the Dirk of old right now, and he's still a pretty cheap price.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I mean, for GPPs, I'm probably going to be looking elsewhere just because the ceiling's really not all that high. But cash game wise, I mean, I think he's just an excellent plug and play at that price because he's going to hover right around 28, 30 minutes, and probably going to hover around 30 fantasy points.
Yeah, he probably won't get you 40 fantasy points, but it's still a good spot for him. And like you said, he's a great cash game play tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in that range, I mean, I don't mind James Johnson, 5,900 on FanDuel. This is a guy who, kind of high motor, double-double upside. I mean, his defensive stats are always there as well. I kind of like him a lot in this game against Houston, in which, their pace of play, some turnovers. I mean, it kind of fits James Johnson type game.
Yeah, I like him. I like him tonight. He's a pretty good scorer. I mean, he's a little tough to predict just because he could get you like 15 fantasy points, but he's been playing very well lately, hovering around the 30 fantasy points mark each game, which is about 5x his value is what you want from each player. So he's okay.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, outside of that, Mirotic is back. That kind of takes a lot of appeal from Taj Gibson, Doug McDermott. Basically a situation that I'm probably not going to be touching on tonight's slate.
Yeah, I probably won't be going to be on him either, especially coming back from an injury.
Yeah. Kenneth Faried, I mean, we talk about Nuggets minutes. There is a concern, but I think we can't really rule him out in a GPP because we know the upside that he has for his cheap price tag. But, if we get another game where he's only 15, 16 minutes, then, that's where it hurts.
Yeah, he's only 4,300 on FanDuel, but I still could never use him in cash. I know he's going to get some ownership, but he's just not a guy I'm ever going to use in a cash game.
No, you really can't trust it. And I mean, Ryan Anderson, doubtful for tonight. I don't know if I'll be taking any gander at players like, Montrezl Harrell or Clint Capella because he's likely back. I think I'm just going to be staying away.
Yeah, I'm probably going to stay away there too.
So, anyone else at power forward you like?
That's it. But we just got news that Jordan Clarkson is probable tonight.
So really, Lou Williams is kind of a downgrade now.
Yep.
A little bit bummed. So,
all right, let's move on.
Center, I mean, Karl-Anthony Towns obviously a pay up option. Probably more of a GPP move for me. I don't know how much exposure I'll have to him just because his price is super high. And obviously, I'm probably going to be spending money elsewhere.
Yeah, I'm probably not gonna have a lot of exposure to him. Like you said, his price is it's high. It's 9,400 on FanDuel, and he's facing the Spurs, which is a terrible matchup. And it's one of the lower totals in the slate, and I'm probably gonna be saving at this position.
Yeah, I mean, on DK, I mean, Jokic is center only for basically 1,200 less. So I'd rather just use Jokic. And you also have Randall, who's, center eligible. So for me, it's pretty much all about kind of paying down at the mid range, especially with that Toronto and Brooklyn game featuring at least two centers that are usable.
Yeah, I'm looking definitely at those two centers in that game. I prefer Valanciunas for safety, but Lopez for a little bit more upside. Valanciunas last time out, he had a double-double, but he only had one block and one steal. And the Nets, they're the most blocked team in the NBA. They get blocked about at least 6 times a game every game. So if he can get maybe 3 of those blocks, he has a little bit of upside. And then Brook Lopez in the same matchup. He's had some career games against Toronto over the years. It's just he's a terrible rebounder, and you're just really relying on his scoring.
Yeah, you are. And hopefully that he picks up a couple extra stats as well in the defensive column because, he needs those 2 blocks, 2 steals to kind of hit that upside. But obviously, I mean, I think he's a great correlation play, especially if you're playing guys like, Carroll and Lowry. I mean, I don't mind throwing in Lopez with them.
Yeah, because he runs the Nets offense, especially when Lynn is out. He has a usage of almost 30%. So the ball's going to be in his hands a lot. It's just a matter of what he does with it.
Yeah, definitely. His brother, Robin Lopez, in play for me tonight just because, you look at that matchup. I mean, Dallas is obviously the worst rebounding team in the NBA, really cheap on both sides. If you're kind of building a stars and scrubs or kind of going with, a Lowry Harden, someone else lineup, Jokic, I mean, Lopez might be a guy to look at.
Yeah, I like Lopez. I like him a lot.
Yeah, I mean, cheap. I mean, he's probably going to hover right around 20, 25 fantasy points, which is really all you need out of him at that price.
Yeah, he's only 4,400 on FanDuel, too, and he had a double-double upside tonight.
Yeah, it definitely does. Outside of that, though, I mean, I'm not really looking at too many else. I'm not really in on like Pau Gasol or Whiteside. I think those are names I'm just kind of going to be looking away from.
Yeah, same here. Just one guy I might take a shot on, and maybe 1 out of 10 teams is Nurkic, just because he could get some of those minutes tonight for Denver. Like I said, you never know with Mike Malone. Nurkic can come out of nowhere and get like 30 minutes in a game tonight. And if you have him over anyone else, you're probably winning a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, out of the bigs, I mean, I'm definitely going to be the lowest owned, and we're just looking at that matchup. I mean, basically, you can fire away with anyone on Denver's team. It's just going to be a matter of kind of hitting the right minutes at this point.
Yeah, Nurkic is definitely the most risky one, though, so like tread lightly there.
Yeah, definitely. Outside of that, I mean, I think tonight, pretty straightforward in terms of kind of who you're paying up around. I think that Toronto team's really probably going to be your cash game core.
Yeah, most likely. That game should. I mean, I expect it to stay close. Game stack's not out of the question for tonight either.
No, definitely not. So, who's your highest scorer? That's probably non James Harden.
That's a tough one. Probably Lowry. Jokic, if he gets the minutes.
Yeah.
If Jokic gets the minutes, he's probably going to score over 50 fantasy points tonight. It's just a matter if the minutes will be there.
Yeah, I think in terms of upside on tonight's slate, Lowry, Harden, Jokic are probably your top 3 guys.
Yeah, definitely. And Jokic, he's probably be the highest owned player in the slate.
Certainly. So that's going to wrap things up here. Be sure to check out the rest of our NBA content for tonight's 5-game slate.
Yep. Good luck, everyone.